Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Zwift Me Live broadcast of the WTRL Zwift Racing League. We are out on the Champs Listies for week number 6, and it is a sprinter's delight out here today. It's points, 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 and more points for a points race. Lots of preems and lots of power-ups as well. 2 opportunities every lap, across lap finish banner as well as across the sprint banner. Opportunities to triple up even. We haven't seen it yet today, at least where we've actually watched and seen. Like I actually haven't been keeping a good eye on it, but Nathan Guerra here, Dave Toll, obviously, and just Dave, I don't know if you noticed this, but we noticed this in APAC that if somebody could get super lucky and go arrow, arrow, arrow 3 times in a row for a total minute of 1 minute of arrow within a 1 kilometer to 1 to 2 kilometer range, which could be pretty amazing if they roll those slots and they hit 3 cherries, man. Yeah. That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, definitely. They should go buy a lottery ticket right after the race if you pull that off for sure. Good luck out there. It's this is a deceivingly hard course, to tell you the truth. In the Premier League today, we saw a split, both the men's and the women's race. We saw groups of 15, 20 riders getting shelled in the first lap, to tell you the truth. So that little segment that leads up to the sprint banner, it's actually a little petit KOM or QOM in this case. It's about 1.2K. It's about a little under 5% grade. But if they're pressing hard and going for points, you can find yourself in trouble pretty quick. So this is a fantastic course to race on. I love Champs-Élysées.
I've been in breakaways a lot of times actually on this course because of the nature of it and the way that you can, because the gradient isn't extremely steep on the downhill, and it's a longer downhill, but it isn't so
helps.
Intense that the snowball isn't that bad. So you don't get this like really bad on top of each other's speed, so that you can kind of, if you get like 3 to 5 working together really well, you can keep your speed at least matching that pack. And if you already have 5 seconds, then a lot of times the motivation is completely out of the pack at that point, especially later in the race. So, we saw it work in APAC B. We did not see it work in EMEA at all, but APAC B, the 3 men stayed away and ended up winning the race. So that was really interesting to see. The women for the Ds are out on course today. We are covering the Division 1 for the Americas East Division 1D women, and then we are covering the Division 2B men out there today. So we like to go across all the categories. Everybody's out there racing and putting in those hard efforts, Dave, which has been really cool to see. One thing that I highlight that just confirms what we're doing with that is that after the race, a lot of times I'll see a comment from someone that's like, I can't believe that I was on, and then the big thank you, and I was on the broadcast, and oh my gosh, and thank you for covering this. And so, that's really what it's all about here is, these having that community coming together around everybody's effort, being able to see. I mean, I've also noticed that a lot of the top end racers are coming and watching the races across all the categories, which has been really cool to see as well.
Well, and you know why? I mean, in a lot of cases, we're all in this together. A lot of those top riders, who I was talking with this afternoon was Stefan Kirkmeyer. And you know what he wanted to talk about, Nathan? Was the success that his women's teams have been having out there in European, Middle East, and Africa, East and West. So, I mean, I think it's extremely cool, exactly what you're saying. And I want to get back to what you were talking about with your experience being in breakaways on this course, because I think that's fascinating. As I'm learning more about the gameplay, Zwiftcraft, one thing, Nathan, tell me, kind of a binary, yes or no, if you can on this. It sounds to me like the worst thing for a breakaway is a steep descent if they've got a peloton chasing them. That's almost always where it's out of your hands. The advantage that a peloton has versus a small group or a solo rider is so massive that it makes a breakaway almost doomed, where you don't have that, as you very well put on this course. As a matter of fact, it almost seems like a course that has no downhill. It's almost entirely uphill as you keep going around this circle of pain here on the Champs-Elysees, because the downhill is barely noticeable, but you certainly feel this, don't you? And they should be sprinting for points here. It goes 10 deep. And look at this surge coming right now. So, all right, that's a definitive way to play that power up, too. I believe it's going to be the helmet, the van, and the feather out here today. That's what we had in Premier.
And we have a
steamroller.
Yeah, steamroller.
Well, that's...
It's definitely been interesting because a lot of people today think the steamroller is really strong, but we had the whiteboard out with Anna, and she completely debunked it, and she is 100% right, because the reason the steamroller was so strong out on the Beach Island Loop was because it was
dirt, right?
0.025, whereas
it's a much bigger difference than the cobble, isn't it?
So you're in the hundredths of a you're in the hundredths there, 0.025 when it comes to the coefficient rolling resistance, right? The coefficient of the rolling resistance is 0.025 is what Anna was showing. And
I was told there would be no math.
This was all
I was told there was no math.
Well. There's a little graph. It'll show you, and even like a table. It shows you each one of the rolling resistance changes. And the steamroller not the steamroller, but when you're on dirt with any bike, with any road bike, it's 0.025 that you get slowed down by, right? On the coefficient for cobbles is like 0.0044, so it's a full one, like all the way down to the thousandths, right? I mean, that's a huge difference. So the steamroller is not going to be nearly as strong on these cobbles as it is on the dirt. And so plus the dirt with the uphill was a huge benefit with the speed that you were gaining. So I think this idea that the steamroller is too strong may only be
not today.
On dirt sections, only on dirt sections and I actually think that is. And I'm a big fan of the steamroller. Actually, I don't think it's overpowered. I actually like it that there's specific courses where, okay, well, there's dirt here. You know that. And dirt is the section that you need to be watching out for. For me, I'm kind of like, well, that just means they're good technical riders. But anyways, Nami's out the front here. HBZ, BCT, killing it. I don't know. Is she buying Bitcoin, which with the team there? She got BCT in there with a. I'm liking that. That's all over the news lately, so we're recognizing that one. But that had no relation, obviously, here, I wouldn't think. But H. Bird,
speaking of oh, wow. Are you reading my mind, Nathan? Because today, one of the heroes in the Premier League was Bruce Bird. And I was going through this roster. So again, folks, today we're in with the Division 1D women. As Nathan was saying, it's absolutely a pleasure being able to check in with some of the groups that we don't get to see race as much as we'd like. So the D women are absolutely going to be a blast to cover. So Nathan, Holly Bird on Llama Stay, which is one, the brand of No Drama Llamas. Of course you do. That's our friend Aaron. Well, so No Drama Llamas has franchised, and there's multiple llama teams. Llama Stay, and I know that Martin will correct me if I'm wrong, but Llama Stay is in that family, I believe, unless there's a separate rival llama group out there, which is entirely possible in this modern era. But Holly Bird, I'm wondering if that's a relation, a sister or wife of Bruce Bird, maybe. They're both Canadian. And I realize there could be certainly quite a few birds racing out of Canada. But if someone could let me know if Holly is part of Bruce Bird's flock, I would love to find out. But Holly, good job out here. She's riding up near the front, Nathan, looking strong. They're going to be doing 4 laps at 6.6K each. There was a little bit of a run in 3.2K to get them onto the circuit, Nathan. And so that's already behind us. They're out there about halfway through the first lap right now.
Yeah, and we are seeing some cheering on. I'm loving it. The Bobcats. Go Bobcats. So that's who that's going to be.
Oh, yeah.
With the BCT is standing for Bobcats out there. Herd of bounding, I would assume, or the bearing, or the bouncing. They're always different when it comes to the names there on that side of things. But it's go ahead and take a quick look at how things are in these standings here. For the ATP Racing Buzz, they are currently leading things out. And you can see the ATP kit here toward the front end of the pack actually right now. Let's see if we can find a few of the riders. It is going to be the pink, a light pink with a little bit of white accent on their ATP Racing, as you can see. And Jay Nicholson is representing them well, it looks like, perhaps. Yep. As well as Kay Dubord.
And Dubord? Yep.
Yeah. So then Vibe here with 95 points. It's going to be WTRL Drafting Dinos, 88 points right now in third place for the series standings. Lady Watts Sisters, ZZQCD, there are with 76 points at fifth place. Herd of Bounding Bobcats, that is going to be in sixth place there with 74 points. Cesar Race Like the Girl Pele with 67 in seventh. The Drafting Dinos 2 for WTRL in 8th. Fear Factor, 9th place. And then the Herd of Blazing Bobcats. So the differentiation there with the Bobcats, HBA, Bounding Badass, the Herd of Badass Bobcats, Bounding Bobcats, and Blazing Bobcats. I have a feeling that, all right, we got Bounding here with Vandit, right? We've got BA, I think that's pretty easy to figure out there. And then the Blazing are going to have the BZ, HBZ. So Nami took it down for the HBZ, obviously, which they're sitting in 10th place. So that's a good result for them to try and grab a few points on the day.
You cracked the code, Nathan.
It's literally
right
a code.
there. Literally cracked the code. You could have, you know what's funny, Nathan, is that's how much smarter your brain is than mine. I could have looked at that all night and never figured it out and just kind of walked away saying, well, I don't know. So thank you for being you, my friend. You're a great colleague. So ATP Racing Buzz, there's a honey bee theme to that team that I really like. I just found out, I watched a documentary about the honey industry and how tough it is for the small beekeepers in America. So I really appreciate our friend Jim Withers, who is one of the supporters of all of our ATP racers, who always, I think that's sort of their theme, isn't it, Nathan? Bees and honey, that energy, I would say.
Oh, definitely. Oh, yeah, definitely. And it probably has something to do with the reality of the honey bear man that is Jim Withers. I think when you signed with the team, a lot of the early signers got
you get honey
sent to them. Yeah, which was a pretty cool deal. Pretty cool deal for sure.
Well,
so
one of the perks of getting signed on with Zwift Community Live was that he hooked us up with some honey a few months ago as well. And I know that you, with your kids, it was a big hit at the Guerra house for sure.
Yeah, it's all gone. So we did well.
Yeah,
did well.
Are you kidding? I didn't even ask. I knew. Nathan, there's no way that was going to be hanging around. So Ringuet is another rider that we've got here. Again, with our D women, you see a lot of that maple leaf flag. It's really an interesting mix. It's sort of like 45% American, 45% Canadian, and then 10% you never really know from all over the world. But typically, those are folks that are currently working or living or going to school in North America or South America, actually. We certainly love seeing those flags. We've had a lot of fun, and Martin has given me, rightfully, given me a hard time about needing a flag poster so I can identify. Hong Kong caught me out last week, Nathan. You were there, you know.
I was there. Now this is interesting that Nami is going for another
sprint
here.
Yeah.
And now there's no points up for grabs here. Maybe
right.
Using the roller, not the roller, the
steamroller
to try and create a little bit of separation with Brazeboy here. This is Brazeboy?
Let me know. Yeah, I'm with you. And so, Nathan, it was Brisbois, I think.
It was pretty close. It wasn't bad.
Pretty close. No, you're doing pretty well lately, I got to say. There are two arches out there. There's the finish line arch, which will come into play. This will be about 27K or so for this group. But the only time that is actually going to be a distinctive moment in the race will be the finish, because the sprints are all happening at the Lutece sprint. So Lutece, Lutetia was when the Romans started ranging out of, well, what is now Italy and coming up into France. Paris didn't exist, so it was a little Roman outpost that was formed in what is now modern day Paris, but it was called Lutetia by the Romans back at that time. So that's why you see that name popping up in some of the race documents. Lutece, Lutece, sprint. So basically, a Roman city where.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Liking that.
Yeah.
And is that why we have?
I did some homework.
How do you say the? What is is that the giant structure then? I forget the name of it.
Perfect. So you have two major structures here. There's the Arc de Triomphe, which they're heading up to.
There we go.
Right.
Thank you.
And Napoleon had that built after the war.
I actually knew that. I wrote a paper on this. Nathan, what are you thinking? Well,
so it'll come back
to
you.
I didn't write a paper on it, but it was in one of my
research materials.
Research material. It was in my research material during History 101 of my freshman year of college, I believe. But anyways,
so the other
what that was worth. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, yeah. Hey, look at where you are now, kid. So the other end of this, so the Champs-Élysées Avenue, this is the most famous avenue in the world. And the other end of it is Place de la Concorde. That's where there's a big garden down there. Very, very popular with folks to go take a stroll. You can only imagine how romantic it would be to be out walking around in Paris, the city of lights. And this is obviously where the Tour de France is held. Now, people think, the Tour has always finished on the Champs-Élysées, but that's not true. It wasn't until, I think, the mid-'70s that they moved. There used to be a velodrome that they would finish at just outside of downtown. Oh, sorry, Nathan.
Yeah,
you're right. Megan's
okay.
going to picking up points here, scoring at 10 deep.
Yeah, and she takes down Nami, but Nami again for second. Manipute there coming on through next. Real quickly, we're going to jump on over to the men's race as they are getting out onto their first sprint as well. So this is going to be nonstop action across the board over and over again. Let's go ahead and head on over to the men's race. They are just getting into. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Nathan, a lot of riders are going to get dropped after these sprints. It's hard enough that if you're having trouble hanging on to begin with and they accelerate, that might be lights out.
Seen a lot of riders try and go early, like we're seeing here from E-Rob, TFC.
Yeah, all day long.
And it doesn't, it's stuck, it's hit and miss. I've seen it kind of 50-50. If they don't get more than a second or two, usually these big watts per kilograms, like we're seeing from Kroll here now. Kroll, right. Big kick, ATP Racing off the front now. Here comes Brackens, and then it's going to be right behind him, the slow twitch rider. Up the feet, trying to come across. Doesn't look like it's going to be happening. It's ATP 1-2, followed up by Ninja. And then Kraft there also from Slow Twitch. Looks like Pay Dirt D. Smith coming through as well. That's your top 5 on through. This is the men's race in the B category. They're on lap number 1 right now. Just getting going. And, with the pace of these two, it's going to be interesting. I have a feeling that we're going to have the finish. These riders are going to finish right around the same time, actually. I have a feeling. That,
I think your timing will be
almost right on.
I would take bets on who's going to finish first, to tell you the truth. I think the ladies will just squeak in.
I think they will. I do. I think they're 12.3K in with 20 minutes of racing down. They started about 16 minutes, I think, was the difference, right around there or so. So I have a feeling they're just going to get in. They'll sprint, and then we'll have the men coming into their final 2K or 1K or so. I haven't done any math. I'm just throwing numbers out there with
shooting from the hip.
Ballpark. Yeah, kind of shooting from the hip, looking at where everyone's at right now.
So hey, I know folks would be interested in going to Zwift Power, which seems like it's going quite well today, or at least for me right now, it's going nicely. So. I did want to point out then that, as Nathan said, this is for the men Division 2 Bs. So you can find them there if you're interested in looking at the profiles of our riders, like B. Ben right now, as can see that it's been aggressive. And you know what, Nathan, I want to go back to what you were talking about with the sprint points out there, is I like the tactic of going early, because even if you don't get over the line first, usually you still score in the top 10. Most of the riders don't get completely reabsorbed. So it's been a pretty effective ploy for trying to get points out there, rather than waiting for the sprint out there. And it obviously depends on what kind of a rider you are as well. There's certainly different ways to crack that code. This is Cryogen Titless that we're looking at right now, and the rider Eaton. Each lap is 6.6K, but remembering that they had the lead in here, they're about halfway through their first lap now.
The current standings right now for this B category, ATP Racing Xenon, with 97 points, tied neck and neck with Slow Twitch. We did just see them battling it out. ATP Racing did go 1-2 for the first sprint. Slow Twitch took third and fourth. I believe there may have been a dirt rider mixing it up from pay dirt in the middle of all that. Cryogen there in third place, 85, 2 points behind will be TFC Apocalypse. Watch out for TFC. I think this may be a category that they are doing fairly well in, as I'm seeing a lot of yellow jerseys with the black TFC on the back there in the current lead group, at least 3 of them. Zedson Apologetic there, Z-Sun, Zedson, as we've been correct. 76 tied at 6th place and 5th place. The B2 Le Bawat Brothers, 73 points currently in 7th place is Pay Dirt. Wadi Inc. Ion there, 67 points in 8th place. RR Albino Rhinos for 9th, and it's going to be the Zwift Crushing Daddies, the Beasts, in 10th place. And sometimes a good name will get you all the TV time you're looking for. I'm watching out for the ZCD boys
always
day
have
long
been,
today.
always will. Yep, there's no doubt that we're big fans of the ZCD. So a tie up on top of the table there in our series points. That's always exciting.
Yeah, really cool to
there.
see. And the fun thing is that they were neck and neck in the sprint as well. So they're obviously here to race right now. They're not messing around. It'll be fun to see how this ends up playing out between them, because they definitely are marking each other, and that always makes things it can make things fun. Sometimes it can slow the whole thing down too. Sometimes it can kind of create this situation where everybody's like, well, they're just kind of having a battle and we're rolling around with them until the end. So we'll see what ends up happening there, but I have a feeling it's gonna keep things interesting today.
You know what I learned a long time ago, Nathan, being around pro road racing, is the best advice you can give people who aren't racers themselves is let the racers do what they do, let them race, and it'll always work out okay. You know, don't try to tell them or dictate. When you see officials telling a peloton to pick it up, that never goes well. That's for sure. And there's a
Why don't you come on out here and race, buddy? Why don't that's what you'll get? You'll be like, are you racing the
Exactly.
race?
Yeah, and there's a reason why that sometimes the teams are working or aren't working, and you have to understand and respect the process that these athletes are into. Here's this crazy little dip that we take where Princess Diana's accident happened, right in this little tunnel here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a crazy, this Champs-Élysées, these few kilometers here, there is an unbelievable amount of world history that has happened just right in this little, postal code that we have. Obviously, you can only imagine Bastille Day, the French celebration of their independence, is bananas on Champs-Élysées. I hope that we can get back to a world where we can go bananas again together out there. I think we're getting there. So all right, here's our front group, Nathan. Pretty big group right now. The next sprint, maybe 2, maybe 3 sprints from now, this group won't be this large when they go to the finish line.
No, this is gonna whittle down each and every lap, I would say. The reality of this course is just tends toward that. We do have the women and the men now on the same section, of course. We're back in with the women here as they are heading on toward their third lap. As Kay Dubord, it's going to be, it looks like, Jay Breeze Boys as well. Breeze Boy? I'm going to try and get that one correctly. Lee now on
Brisbois.
the front.
Brisbois. We're going.
Brisbois.
Yep.
Thank you. And as we look through, currently on lap 2, actually, heading into lap 3 here. So solid efforts here so far by this team. Nicholson looks like coming through.
I just wanted
Racing.
to note, I think that graphic, and I completely understand it, is incredibly complicated with everything we have going on. But I think
no, you're right. You're right. Actually, that happened earlier.
There we go. Perfect.
They've only got a lap and a half, or let's see here, a lap to go, 2 laps to go at this point when they come through.
So
here.
They're at about a lap and a half to go. Exactly. 6.6K per lap out here on Champs-Élysées, Avenue des Champs-Élysées.
And with the women, as they head into their next lap, they're going to start dropping some power-ups, it looks like. Interesting to see. Nami back to the front. Been extremely aggressive today from the Blazing Bobcats. Now, she keeps attacking into this section, making things interesting. I think Nami wants to break things up.
Yeah, if you had a most aggressive rider's prize to hand out, I would be giving it to Nami for sure.
Nami W.
28K. Make it 28.5K is the official distance for the women for the C's and D's. Thank you, Martin.
Nami, a lot of these racers, interesting enough, amongst this category, started racing in the last couple of months. I'm noticing they're all fairly new to the world of Zwift racing, which is really cool to see. Nami just starting racing on March 9th of this year. So very new to the world.
I would love to know, Nathan, how many people have somehow watched a friend, family member, whoever it might be, race on Zwift Community Live and then decided, you know what, I'm going to get on Zwift and give it a try, and then ended up coming out and racing. If anyone has one of those stories, let me know. I would love to hear about that, because I think it's incredibly cool, and motivation is something that it can come from the most interesting of places. Let's take a look at this sprint, Nathan, as here we go. That's going to be ATP, and Bracken's just lighting a rocket here, as I don't know that she comes back before we hit the arch, but
sorry about that.
I'm sorry that he comes back.
And taking it down here, Kraft now, slow twitch, trying to match that. Does take down the other ATP, and this is going to be the story, I think, throughout each one of these. Slow twitch versus ATP. I wonder if any of the other racers are keeping quiet and waiting for a late attack going into the later laps, perhaps. You know, there's with the trying to get some sort of an opportunity. I mean, with the current standings and these two tied at the top, they've kind of just shown themselves to be the strongest of the strong. And
look at this, Nathan. It's a real struggle up here in the front of the bike race to get this thing back in order. As I'm not calling it a breakaway, it's a jailbreak is what this is. We got guys left, right, and center right now. This is going to settle into a new phase of the race here in the next minute. Who's going to make this?
This camera shot usually gives us a really good idea of what's happening amongst the race here. And you can see on the front there, it does look like it's going to be a cryogen rider that's trying to snap things. One of his teammates is trying to go across. You do see 4 riders, 5, 6,
That is
7.
not what a bike race usually looks like. No,
about 7 riders, it looks like, completely smashed at this point.
Yeah. I mean, and you can see that this could go a whole bunch of different directions right now. But what I love is the racers are making the race. And it looks like we're going to jump back in with the women. And they're sprinting for points here. And it's going to be Holly Bird, the Canadian, picking up maximum bonification. So that's 10 points right in front of Dubord, the ATP rider.
Try and get an idea of who Jay is here and who Jay is riding for.
We learn a lot doing these races for sure.
Yeah, I believe that's going to be Jackson GC riding for the Watts sisters, if I'm not incorrect.
Isn't it encouraging, Nathan, to see a group this large racing together? I am stoked for the D women here.
Yeah, actually, that was one of the things that when we chose to do this broadcast, sometimes you're not sure in some of the categories if you're going to get enough riders to have even have a broadcast, have a race that can have a narrative around it here. And I looked at when I went to schedule this, I was like, wow, there are a lot of women racing in this category, and one of the things with the growth of women's sport around Zwift is just amazing. I mean, in a local mountain bike race, one of the things a lot of times that we would see was the lower categories struggling to populate with enough women, and they would put the categories together, just to make sense of the racing in some sort of a way. And then a lot of the racers would feel demoralized, or, there would be this like, well, come on, I need someone to race with that's at my ability level. And to see this at the D category level, speaks volumes. I mean, that's one of the main punchlines here. You know what I mean? Like that this is
100%. And
it's so many women, and I think a lot of when we're looking at how many are new to the world of Zwift racing, at least. And I'd want to know as well, if we did a survey, how many of these women this is their first racing experience too, and how cool that is. I mean, there's so many stories to pull out here.
And I wonder, there's a lot of things to wonder here, but also, what's the next step for a lot of these athletes is now that they've found some confidence with racing. I'm starting to see some of them showing up for their first ever in real life events with the fitness that they've built up on Zwift. So, Nathan, the ATP rider Dubord, I'm believing that's KIMMYD there, looking at ATP Buzz right now, trying to figure out who we've got in this group, because Nami has been one of the strongest riders out here without a doubt. And the women are getting down to it. They're inside of 9K to go at this point.
Yeah, they'll be coming
so that's
through
really
for
close.
Lap and a half to go in just a moment here. Just a moment. They're into lap number 3 right now of 4. That's about halfway done. Jay at the front taking over. That is going to be, I believe, a rider who is riding for the Watts sisters, if I'm not incorrect. They're using the Radavist kit. So Herd are involved here with 2 riders. WTRL are here as well. Fearless, it looks like. Is there a Fearless team, or is that just a borrowed kit that may be being used at this moment? I'm going to double check here and see if we do.
So help
me,
Nathan.
Fear Factor. Fear Factor are here with us.
Yep, there you go.
At 9th place.
Who's the rider in all black there, Nathan, right in the middle of the group, the Canadian Jay there? I'm doing a really good job of staying.
I believe this is, I'm not absolutely positive. This is the only person with the first name Jay that's from Canada that I saw in the rider list. So I'm saying it's Jacinth GC riding for the Watt Sisters D. She's a level 20. Okay. She's got 18 races. She's coming out of Canada. And she also just started racing on Zwift Power on January 19th in a ZHQ steering race, and the Zwift Racing League starting the next week. So it looks like someone recruited her into Season 2, and she started racing on the 26th of January, a couple of weeks in, actually, I think that is, to the Season 2 of the Zwift Racing League. Very cool to see. Very, very cool to see.
She knows how to race a bike. That is for sure. She keeping the powder dry here. Look at her wattage numbers. As she's just get yourself slipped right back up into the group. There you go. As this is how you do it right now. Just trying to keep it on a slow, low burn. You don't want to get the high flame out till the finale. Looks like we got an ATP rider. Is this Nicholson chasing back right now?
Yep. Nicholson is chasing back right now, trying
to
get back on terms right now.
I think she's going to make it.
This is a tough ask here at this point. 177 beats per minute, 6 seconds. If they start looking at each other on the front, now C, I think, this is a lapped rider. Maybe able to, we'll see what happens between there. She might be able to be a wheel there for Nicholson. Not sure if that's going to cause any kind of tempers to flare here. Now Lee, though, pushes on the front. I don't think Fear Factor wants this to come back. I think they don't want another ATP rider, and dropping one ATP rider is definitely going to be a big bonus for the rest of these riders here, because they are the top of the table here at this point. 100 points clean. So they currently are leading this out and dominating with that 100 points. So there's going to be some smiles at this point, I think, at the reality of this. Look at this here. Vibe 95, Dino's there 88. So Vibe, though, have they made this front group? That's going to be the question. Where is Vibe?
Very good point. So just doing some inventory right now here in this front group. So as they roll along here, they're pretty close to getting the bell, sending them out on the last ronde or the last lap. So we've got is that Bounding Bobcats? Yes. We've got a Drafting Dino 1. That's Megan, who's proven herself to be very strong out here today. Holly Bird. There's no weak link in this group, though, Nathan. These ladies all look very strong right now.
Yeah, they do. I'm going to see. We're going to see if we do get the names correctly here real quickly. Jackson, I'm going to see if that is a Watt sister or not. There is another J in there. And apologies, everyone. When they put just the name in, it can be a little bit difficult to get the correct name. When they don't put the name in there, so it can be difficult for the identification here. But with the J here, we are seeing 2.3 watts per kilogram right here. I'm wondering if Vibe is using this kit as well. So I'm going to see if I can look across a few of the other names, and we're going to have to try and find out exactly what kits are being used by the Le Watt sisters here in just a second.
Well, Jay has really just sat right on the back of this group, hasn't put her nose in the wind. The only danger that you have is that this happens.
I got lucky, Dave.
You got it?
It is the Rodovist kit, so I got lucky because Kay O'Brien is most definitely riding for the Le Watt sisters. Now, Vibe, I have a feeling maybe is riding here for riding with the Moore kit. I just get the feeling that that's a Vibe kit. Like you're just vibing with that one, but
it vibes that way. This is the second group, isn't it, that we're looking at
this
now?
This is Julie Aub, yeah, and this is the second group on the chase here. They are trying to chase down a couple of stragglers that are in No Women's Land. Julie Aub, 19th place currently, level 29 Zwifter coming out of Canada. Again, another rider. Started Zwifting with Zwift Power Racing on March 3rd of this year. I mean, this is the theme, I think, Dave. This is all... And look at how many Vibe women are here. WTO Drafting Dinos are saying, bucket, please. I mean, this is the theme. So this is the theme. This is definitely the theme right now.
Well, there's a lot of valuable points riding along with this group here, as this is our second group out on course, as they will be out on the last lap here of Champs-Élysées. Again, this is our Division 1D women that we've had the pleasure of covering here today as they move into their finale. There's Hildebrand looking strong right up near the front of the group. I mean, they've kept their momentum going out here.
Yeah, these points all matter big time.
They sure do. I mean, this will be the difference. There's no one team, Nathan, in that front group that has enough of a dominant situation that they're going to win with just the points they have up there. So these are the women that are going to decide the top team today.
Yeah, now they're going here. This is going to be the Vibe team again. And the two Canadians from Vibe now on the pedal to the metal. And now looking through, this is
they don't have a relaxed Vibe.
No,
they're not relaxed, are they?
Not at all. And Net Bree. Oh man, I don't know why this one Bois just gets me for some reason. I don't know, because nothing about the way that is done there in American English says Bois. like nothing.
Well, you're also part of this culture now where big boy and all that stuff is spelled B-O-I.
Exactly,
right?
So, so I'm like, it just will not stick with me. I cannot get it. I'm trying so hard to get this in, but this is gonna be Nat versus Bois. And Nat here as well started racing on December 4th of this year, December 2nd. I mean, this is just the greatest story here. And Team Vibe are really throwing a vibe down with ATP, battling back and forth. And this is the story. When it comes to this, ATP Racing Buzz versus Vibe is the story here. Now, a new story may be getting written, though, right in front of our eyes, because there is the reality of what's up the road here at this point. And up the road, Bird's saying, no, we're going to rewrite the narrative on this Champs-Élysées. This is the place to do it. 4 laps. We're going to really show. DeBoard here now is trying to make a move, keep them in the story with ATP. But as you can see, the Bobcats, we're also seeing the reality of the Lewatt sisters, the fear factor. I have a feeling, these extra points up front, especially with if these riders are able to take down the ATP rider here up front, and in both the sprint points that they're getting right now, as well as the final points across the finish line, that's a ton of points here at this point that can really jump them up in the finals for the day. 20-point jump, and if ATP Racing, it's going to be like a 5-point difference or so. So the BA Bobcats as well as the Watt sisters, they got something to gain. Now, the reality is ATP Racing Buzz, they just got the numbers though in the top 10. There is that as well. And looking back here, I mean, the other teams just need a few more riders up here. Now here comes Herd though. It's going to be again Nami, so strong from the Blazing Bobcats.
Yeah, what a super ride out here from Nami. Going back, though, Nathan, ATP Racing Buzz, the reason they have 100 points is because they have not missed a target yet, as Lee will pick up 9 points there right behind the 10 that Nami will grab for the Bobcats. So, all right, things are going to reset just a little bit here in the front group as these ladies are down to it. The business end on Champs-Élysées now, as we're saying, less than 4K to go. Let's go with 3.7 kilometers of racing remaining out here. And most of it is flat or slightly downhill. So we're going to be rolling it to the finish line now. All the points waiting at the finish line are always interesting, as 50 sitting there, a pot of gold for our winner. 40 points for second, 35 for third. And then we start to break it down. It tightens up as you make your way down to the 30th spot that gets the final point. But that difference between first and...
Go ahead, Dave.
I was going to say the difference between first and second, 10 points, is significant. And that's something new for this season that we love in Season 3. And then the final point is that Martin has done a great job of the way that we set up the points schedules out here. All of these bonus sprints and the fastest through segments makes for much more exciting racing.
Fear factor now we were just looking at, and be on the watch out for fear factor, I think, with N. Lee. She's been following wheels. Nami, I think, has got a solid sprint. Lee may be able to try and break this apart a little bit here, or at least keep fear factor in the conversation, it looks like. Lee, now a little bit more experienced rider than some of the others in and amongst this. It looks like her first ride/event that she did experience here out on Zwift was back on November 26th of 2020. Well, I mean, still, that's within 6 months or so, 7-8 months now at this point. So still, pretty new rider as well. Jumping in on Eric Min's Thanksgiving ride. Jumping in on, it looks like a lot of the early stuff that she was up to was the group rides. The Zwift Racing League didn't actually show up on the radar until this season, actually. So good to see
in the ZRL
jumping in with us with the Season 3 of ZRL. So good on her getting involved here for sure, and keeping Fear Factor involved. Team Fearless, one of the longest standing teams, so really cool for the recruitment of a newer rider as well. I always love to see that.
Yeah, Nathan, one of my favorite things, and I know that you are a real advocate for athletes as well, is when someone like the 2024 team is looking for new talent, and you happen to spot a rider out here in the community leagues. And I know that you've connected dots for more than a few riders out there helping climb the ladder, if that's what their desire is. And I want to be perfectly clear. There's plenty of athletes, Nathan, that like racing at this level and have no plans of moving up. This is the group they want to race with. It's just the right level for them. And hey, more power to you. I completely get that and love that. The fact that you're out here tonight racing speaks volumes about your commitment to your fitness and to your friends and your community. Keep it going. All right, they're racing for the finish now, Nathan. This is, okay, welcome to downtown Payne City. So we're going to start seeing a flurry of attacks. There you go, throwing up that arrow helmet. So that reducing the rider's CDA or their drag coefficient there by 25%. Did Megan use that efficiently?
In this
Yes and
category,
no.
I do think that there's a little bit more opportunity to just throw the hammer down. You know what I mean?
agree,
And just try and break things apart. I think that there's a lot of these riders are going to be really at their limit, and they can. And with the numbers that are left here, there's just a reality. Attacks are going to make something happen a little bit more.
I agree, Nathan. This is there's some riders here who don't really know what they're capable of, and you don't find out until you get either chased by a lion or get in a bike race, and then you find out how fast you can really go. And this will be an opportunity for exactly that. Ladies, we're down to 1K of racing coming up very, very quickly here. This is going to be awesome. Who's going to win out of this group? Your guess is as good as mine, but let's certainly get behind these athletes. Megan is attacking again, Nathan. She's taking one out of your playbook.
Yeah, I'm liking this. These constant attacks are going to raise the heart rates up a little bit. You see Nami looking to cover still, 170 beats per minute. You see Lee here, 186.
Oh, she's going to go.
180 here
Nami's
from Van de Fute as well here. Now, Jay at 172. It's going to be Dubourg there as
ATP.
well, 158. I think ATP are sitting in there. Look at this, 158 beats per minute right now. She is definitely, as you would say, keeping the powder dry. I think there's just kind of watching, waiting for that moment. We did see her trying to go for a few of those sprints. Now, there could be a max heart rate that's different, though, here as well. She did look to follow Nami. Nami has been proving herself to be the strongest when it comes to just all-out kick. Can they break her is going to be the question, because did you see where the heart rate was as soon as they started going, though? Nami was in trouble at 180 beats per minute. Now she's down to 47 RPM, which is telling me she's just rolling along really easily right now, waiting. So if somebody wants to break her, they're going to have to make a move here pretty quick. Because taking her to the line is not the tactic that I would go with at this point after what we've seen.
She has made that crystal clear to me, and I think that it's too late, to tell you the truth, because we're going to have the finish line coming up on us pretty quickly here. I'm going to estimate it at about 350 meters away.
Yeah, and the only opportunity, again, in this category, I think there's also the opportunity coming out of this underground to really just punch as hard as you can through here. I'd be really interested to see if anybody's planning something to just give it a go here from about a K and a half. Just full in, all out. Megan's been the one so far that's kind of made some moves. Now here it comes. The board there. Now it's going to be Lee now to the front. 3.259. There it is.
See, this is a good launching pad.
You got to really time
it's staying together. Staying together. I'm a little surprised, to tell you the truth. There's going to be more than a few riders that trust their sprint in this group, it seems, Nathan.
Yeah, which is interesting to see here, that nobody's really willing to give it a go. Now to the front, Nami, actually the rider who I'd be watching out for just a kick and not
biggest
be
threat.
Things out.
Yeah, from what I've seen anyways, Nami seemed like the biggest threat, but this is where you want to keep the biggest threat, is just right in front of you here. You don't want her coming from the back of the group and building up a bunch of momentum. That's a lapped rider up the road here. Just to correct, Nathan, that is a lapped rider. It must be.
Yes, definitely.
So that's some traffic. They'll go right by here.
Walker from
I apologize.
Drafting Dinos. The Drafting Dinos are the rider finishing out their race out here. Now Lee now trying to position well. 194. Look at where the heart rates have gone after that little bit of an uphill grind. Now Nami looking to try and set up at 3.2 watts per kilogram. As you can see, lap 404 as we come into the finish line here. Herd, they've got two involved still. I believe it's going to be Blazing versus Bounding, though, so everybody's kind of on their own solo at this point. Holly Bird, early on, she took some sprints. Is she going to be able to take it down across the finish line here? Nami now looking to set up. Bird now kicks a little bit again, looking to position well. Dave, who's going to take it down?
Wow, it is wide open. This is a big opportunity to pick up a ZRL win. And Nathan, your guess is as good as mine. Let's see here. We've got a power-up. That's going to be the Arrow helmet. And that helps open up a little bit of a gap. And then we got Lee going now. She can see the finish. It looks like as Lee goes, Holly Bird is going to try to come by. Has Holly timed this one right? Doubling down on this effort. And Holly Bird will knock this one out of the
right
park
to the line.
if she can hold
on.
on.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, I think she did it. Oh, I was not sure it was going to happen there. She barely held on to that one. Woo. I thought for sure, like, oh my God, that was actually really, really exciting. Right to the line there. Amazing job. I mean,
I felt like I might have jinxed her there a little bit, calling it early. She had to really dig in, as there were two riders who almost got her. Let's take a look at the replay.
I mean, comes on through. Lee with the early lead out. It was just way too early with the power up right there, and ended up getting overtaken by the pack. But then here comes, look at this charge from the
So that's
rider.
Jay. Yeah.
I mean, Jay here coming in in the Radovaz. So that's going to be the black
5
kit.
watts short.
The black kit is
right,
the Radovaz kit there. And the green is going to be...
Putt.
Is that Putz? Oh, yeah, you're right. The Vandeputz. And she kicked so hard. Like, wow. I thought for sure with the kick here, give me a second, but this kick that I see in full-on orange numbers, I thought it was game over. You see that back there at that 9 watts per kilogram? That moment, I was thinking, no, it's coming through the pack. There's enough speed. And whoever that rider is, I think it's Vandeput there from the bounding bob. I thought she was going to bound like a bobcat right on by through, and she almost did. You can see how much the speed from the back, but she did not have an aero power-up, actually. Do you see that? There was no power-up on her. She went without one. There's the kick right to the line.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to go to the back end, ABI.
I mean, I have a feeling Holly took it, though. It looks like Holly took it there. Look at that last little orange kick, too. Nice job.
It is pretty rare. It is pretty rare that the bird gets away from the bobcat, but I think in this case, the bird takes it out.
Looks like Jay just outdid ATP.
Take a look at the numbers too. So Holly, right at that moment, was in the red, where Deput was at the end of a massive effort there. That's a really interesting finale. I'm going to be surprised if Holly Bird doesn't get the gold, though.
Looking through now the
back
men.
In with the men.
28.6 in to their race at this point. We're going to have to do some counting to figure out what lap they're on, actually, to be honest.
So
here.
43.
Lap 3.
So they're just about to head out on their 4th lap.
Is it going to be lap 4?
They're on 4 going into 5.
All righty. Thank you very much, Dave. Dave.
So it's
I thought you said there was no math involved. I thought you said that you were
a lot
you were
today.
There's no math involved today.
Brazil.
Well, the graphic says, look, somebody did something. The graphic says that it's 4 of 6. Must be right at this point, going into lap 5. Looking toward the front of the race, it does look it's going to be Zedson from the B category. Let's reset the narrative and the story here for everybody so they know exactly what is going on here, Dave. We're in with the Bs. It's going to be a tie at the top with Slow Twitch and ATP Racing Xeon coming into, this is the series standings. We do not have any preems today, just as a heads up, everybody. We're working on that one, but we will not have any preems today. We'll get final results, and you can go to WTRL.racing, but you can watch the live images of how it ends up playing out in front of you. Cryogen is trying to chase, but I think the battle really there is for third at this point. There's only 2 weeks left. I mean, the TTT, I mean, a lot has been proven already, though, too, right, Dave? Like, 97, I think really the battle is for third place, because unless you've done like...
Oh, yeah.
Unless a lot of teams have done so much changing in their team time trial, as well as what they would get done in the final points race, I just have a feeling that 7 and 8 are going to be a battle for what's kind of been settled already out here. That 5th and 6th place, maybe a battle for 4th there with TFC, and then be a battle for 3rd TFC Cryogen. So... these teams know who they're marking at this point for what positions they're looking for.
You made a very interesting point earlier in the women's race, Nathan, about how that can either be a positive or a negative for the racing. It's very interesting. But the way I see that, and completely agreeing with you, there's kind of 3 individual battles going on involving about 8 teams, actually. And we'll get a feel for That's the finish line that they just went through. So they would be seeing, they're out on their 5th of 6 laps now. So about 12.5K to go. So Nathan, I saw a Brazilian flag. There's an Australian flag, or actually that's New Zealand. Or to be honest, my eyes aren't good enough to tell the difference from there. But it was one of those countries. So it looks like New Zealand with the red stars there.
Yeah,
actually, and Australia.
Right here. And T Rider having a good ride toward the front right now, taking over 155 beats per minute, 104 RPM.
Kate Bates made a really good point last week to me. I was always thinking, boy, it seems crazy for an Australian to be racing right now, but it's not. It's just that it's tomorrow for them, but it's in the morning for sure. I'm going to check right now and see what time it is in Sydney, Nathan. But it's not like it's 3:30 in the morning.
No, and there's something heating up right this moment that I'm going to bring in to view. As the men are about to take something on, I just want to highlight, because it looks like things are about to go plaid. And the women's A category is just coming into their final.
Oh, great.
And we have a break here with
this.
Weissman. Weissman is 8.2 watts per kilogram, and this is the finishing straight. Like, literally, this is the last 300 meters right now. And here comes Gallopin. She's done it! She has done it! The Belgian rider has walked away. Eleanor Weissman made it happen. I'm not sure when she went. Here comes Grossman. Grossman trying to take it down. She does ahead of Monks. Well, wow.
Beautiful.
I saw that in the background. It was like, I can't let this go. Like, I mean, what a moment there for Weissman. Britt Powell came through for Agawatt. Solid result for them. Rathwell was right up there as well. But holy cow.
Listen, let's stop joking around here. Let's get Riot into Premier because they are awesome. What a team. And, let's note that Eleanor wins there, but they win the field sprint and take 4th because they race like a team. As Grossman doesn't chase down her teammate, she starts that sprint once Eleanor has already gone. Beautiful job, ladies. That's one of the better teams in the ZRL.
I mean, to set up Weissman like that and still take down that.
Hard to do.
That's really hard to do. Now, we just saw coming on through here, it was ATP again and Slow Twitch battling out there, but ATP taking down more points. Now, we do have a counterattack here in the men's B category, though. Wadi Inc. heading to the front. Dowling, though. Now, after that initial sprint, doesn't look like he's that interested. Maybe it was just this trying to get back on terms, got a little excited, found himself off the front, and said, sometimes I go off the front and I'm like, actually, no, this is a bad idea. The legs are not here for this, and I'm just going to be wasting energy up here. So it gets brought back into the fold. Has it broken anything at all at this point?
How many?
We're heading into lap 6 in just a moment. Lap and a half to go. Looks like everybody who's made this front group is kind of here to stay, at least for another lap.
Took the words right out of my mouth. I was just going to say, we've reached the no drop zone of this race where if you've made it to this point, you've got the legs, you've got the will and the ambition to stay in the front group. Now, that doesn't mean there won't be a split off the front, but you're not going to see, you might see a rider have a technical, but you're not going to see a rider have a biomechanical at this point. I mean, I guess you never say never, right? But I mean, it would be a huge surprise to me. If you've made it 32.8K into this slugfest, you're a gamer. You're here to sprint for the finish.
100%. Now looking through the men here, I'm going to try and get an idea of what's happening with who has made this. It is ATP at this point that's really been dominating this. Zwift Crush and Daddy still have at least 2 jerseys. They're using the multicolored blue and dark blue, light blue, and white that you're seeing making it way. This is going to be S. Paul here at the back with the orange socks. He's got at least got some. I mean,
what would Anna say?
Yeah, she'd be really unhappy.
Not impressed.
Super unhappy at this point. Like, what
because
is going
the socks
on?
and the bike.
I mean, the whole like persona though of Zwift Crush and Daddies is going to be the goatee.
They don't care.
The goatee and the glasses, like that's all that really matters.
They're more tough guys.
That they have that look of the the Zwift helmet, the original OG Zwift helmet, the OG glasses, the, got a little bit of fringe going on here
scowl.
with the beard. You know what I mean? They've got this serious
sure.
look. And then that kit on top of it. I mean, that's the Crushing Daddies. That's just it. That's their brand. They don't care everything else, all these little accents, whatever. Just when you're a Crushing Daddy, you don't care about what these gloves are, the socks are. You just throw on whatever's hanging around by the drawer because you just got to get out on your bike. You're a freaking Crushing Daddy. I mean,
you're operating at a higher level than someone who's concerned about what color your socks are.
You don't got time. No, that's what's going through my head is when you're a dad. You ain't got time for that.
You don't have time for socks. You're lucky to have two of the same color, right?
Exactly. No joke. I'm that guy who shows up and is like, oh, whoops, I got different colored socks, guys. Sorry. Oh, it doesn't matter. You're not going to see them. Bye.
Love it. I love it. Nathan, okay, so this is the spirit of what, this is you as well. Somebody is going to attack this bike race on the last lap, and from what we've seen, Eleanor Weissman,
I have a feeling as well. I have a feeling you're right here because this has been extremely cagey so far. There's been these bursts, really short bursts, and everybody's kind of hung on.
100%.
But it's one of those situations where you see the short burst, people get back in, and then you see them all settle right on down, which tells me there's a lot of riders thinking about what's in the batteries, what's charged up.
Isn't that the truth? I mean, everybody is operating at 87%. They've got a lot of range left in their engine to use, but they don't want to show it here. I mean, look, this group is fanned out across the road, basically, right now.
Yeah, it's settled right on down, waiting for that moment to pounce.
So they really need to start, so you are Z-Sun here. You almost want to start making this harder and attack over the top of that. But it really depends on where your riders are at, because I'll be honest, Nathan, if you truly think that you have the fastest sprinter in the race, either you or on your team in this group, you don't do any work. It just gets better and better. If they want to keep rolling like this, so be it. We can do this all day because I've got the fastest rider on my team, I believe, and then we make them prove it.
Now we do see a little bit of a punch. Speaking of Z-Sun.
Z-Sun might be listening because they're going to pick it up now. So here we go. This is it. Shift gears, Nathan. We're moving into the finale.
Yeah, we're going to have one lap to go here in just a moment. And Dumoulin here. Now Cryogen just kind of covers it. Interesting. It's like I thought maybe he was going to give it a go. It was 6 watts per kilogram from one, but a real attack is going to be orange numbers amongst the B category.
For sure. It's funny, Nathan. I thought they lit the fuse and we were just about to go, but no, the fuse died out. Someone smothered it out. Someone poured a beer on it. So we're going to.
Hey, Dirt, move to the front. They replaced the baby bottle. What's going on here, Dirt? They're just hanging out, it looks like.
Boy, there's a lot of teams that right now, we use the term keeping your powder dry. This is beyond that. This is not even opening the package yet right now.
I mean, look at Penner's heart rate, 125 beats per minute.
That's the lowest I think I've ever seen at this level.
Recovery zone at this point. I mean, well, Hughes are saying, what are you talking about? Slow twitch is just a slow twitch. Like, what is this? Is 159. Still, though, I mean, that's tempo. Okay,
it's a tempo, but for these guys,
153 craft. I mean, this
Nathan, for this level of rider, there's not one guy on your screen that is outside of his comfort zone right now. I would say this is about as chill as you are ever.
There might be one guy in here who's like, you don't know what's happening in my pancake. Who's like, Dave,
Nathan,
come and visit me. Come visit me, Dave.
Nathan, 2.9 watts per kilo. I'm seeing 2.7 watts per kilo.
True.
These are numbers that I'm
just wondering if there's a few riders who have made this group because of this pace, though, that are like, like they're just not
I barely got here.
Yeah. Kind of a thing. Riders using the aero power up. These guys did not do the coefficient, the critical coefficient here for, and I want to say critical rolling resistance.
I think he's dumping it. I think
he dumped it because he wants a steamroller, but the steamroller's not that strong. That's the thing, is that people think the steamroller is the stronger. The arrow is the strongest power-up on this course. It is absolutely.
Yeah, you got rid of an ace to pick up a 7.
got to do your homework, and that's where there's this gaming term of knowing the meta. You've got to know the meta. You got to know what is the strongest for the course. You can show up to different gaming environments, and it's go ahead.
It's terrifying. Some people don't even know what meta means, let alone knowing how to find the meta. So, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's different layers here.
What's the current algorithm? What's the current data and the way that it works within the game? And then how that plays out for what kind of speed that you can get. Or, I mean, in any kind of game, it's going to be different across the games. But in this game specifically, it's going to be, well, what's the fastest bike for the course? And what's the fastest power-ups for the course as well?
And what's the most effective power-up for what situation, right? And absolutely. That's, I mean, when you talk about the gameplay out here, that has been really the thing that a lot of people who come straight from in real life racing have a little bit of a lag on picking up how to do that kind of stuff. When to drop the power up perfectly makes a big difference.
We're getting a little bit of. Let's see if we can handle that.
What is this
everybody.
name? Do you even try to pronounce that? Nijdji defeats.
Ninstate up defeats.
There's no way that's a word. I would say
that's. It's not a word. You just said that this guy's name is not a word. Pauline coming on through here. Here we go. Is it going to be the ATP show again? Slow Twitch looking to challenge. Are they going to take one of these down? Is going to be the question. Kraft now up on the top.
Oh, they are sprinting.
Don't Kroll. Here we go. Twitch. Slow Twitch. They might be able to make it happen. Kraft. No. ATP again. Settles it. Kroll. Making it happen. Will it break things apart? It's going to be the next question. It is looking to slingshot a little bit. The funny thing is ATP, they're not going to throw their chips on the table, though, it seems like. They're not interested in actually breaking away. They're fully confident that it is their sprinter's course today. If I were one of these riders that's hanging on with them and knows that I have a good kick, I would just try and say goodbye. Me too. They've shown that they're strong enough at this point to just break you in a sprint. You got to go at one point. Rockins, maybe?
I honestly thought we were going to see someone go over the top and attack at this point here, because that was a real small window of opportunity where you get everybody looking at each other. They've just collected those bonus points there. But we're going to hit the reset button, Grupo Compacto here, as we're going to bring this group to the line.
Now it looks like Huser, he was with us, and now he is no longer gone off the back. Kroll now suffering, it looks like, a little bit after taking those points down. Get him back on terms. He's going to be the man, I think, that ATP is looking to bring to the line, though. He's proven at 11 to 12 watts per kilogram each time up and over the top. Yeah. I wonder if one of the riders, though, has been keeping quiet and has allowed Kroll to just take down those points, and there may be another amongst them. Slow Twitch, I think, on the back foot and maybe getting unseated from the tie this week. They do have a lot of riders here, though, still. I mean, looking through here, 1, 2, 3, 4 riders from Slow Twitch, 5 riders from ATP. So Slow Twitch need to better them, actually, in this final. So that's going to be the question, is whether or not Slow Twitch can take them down. And for those that are wondering, how did you know that, Nathan? It's not by the names. It's actually by the kit. Slow Twitch are using this kind of fluoro...
Beautiful kit.
It's coffee beans. Is that coffee beans or onions?
I'm going to go more with coffee beans than onions.
No, that's an onion. That is an onion.
We're going to have to find out.
Look at the top of it. Look at the top. It's got the little... I would have said coffee bean, but it's got the little, thing at the top. Maybe it's neither. It might just be neither.
I was just going to say, I think it's just art. I don't think that it's a bean or an eggplant or anything, but we'll find out.
It's literally
it looks good.
It's just
I think it's a design.
But it has a root thing on it. It literally has the little, it got pulled from.
I'm with you. I see where you're coming from, but I'm going to respectfully say I think it's a design. But all right, Nathan, it starts to pick up slowly but surely at this point. But at this point now, as surprised as I am, this group will be sprinting en masse.
Looking through, and it is also other teams represented, because we've really been on the ATP Slow Twitch train, because that's been the story at the top. But we do also have
Cryogen with 3 or 4.
Wadi Inc. is also here. They have made this lead group. Always a really great team to be watching out for.
I love Cryogen. That's such a cool program. And if you say you love Cryogen, that makes like 4,000 people feel good because it's such a huge team. So I love Cryogen.
Interesting enough, ZP is only bringing through the Sea Riders today. Not sure what's happening there. Oh, that's for the results.
So it's about 43K. I apologize. I didn't have my distances quite right for the women earlier, but for 43K should be the estimated finish distance here. So we're inside 2K to go for our Division 2B men here, finishing up 6 laps of racing on Champs-Élysées. Big group. We haven't seen this too much today. A sprint group.
No, we haven't. You're right. You're right. Looking to see if we can get some sort of idea of who have made this front group. Zwift Power is taking a little bit of time to update, though.
Yeah.
But as we do bring these riders to the line, I believe DJ Brissett's here, Trent Johnson, Up the Fets also from Slow Twitch, Patrick Case, Rafael Casacurta, Dominic Smith. So a lot of top riders here. ATP, Team Cryogen, Zed Sun is there. Lay Watt Brothers is also make. Zwift Crushing Daddies still have, I believe, at least one rider in and amongst the crew.
Les Watt Frères. It's the brothers in French today.
Oh, nice.
Mon frère. Yeah.
Crushing Daddies actually have 2 riders, it looks like.
Good for them. ZCD.
Let's see if we can take care of this little...
Slow Twitch has... Does Slow Twitch have 3 or 4, Nathan? I'm looking here.
I saw
it is
4,
a great kit.
I believe we have 4.
Yeah, shout out to them. So here's the drop down under the tunnel. This is up at the top here, going.
At the top of this, it's a K and a half to go. It's about K and a half to go. Right about here is about a K and a half
right
to
as you
go.
pop
the
out.
The 1K banner would be just about 300 meters from here, I believe. You'd be able to see it, and things are going to start really looking for position at this point. Dumoulin, 4.7. Ryder now making his way to the front here. Here comes Smith from Paid Dirt. The question for a lot of people's minds is going to be, what are ATP going to do? And it looks like they are setting up.
Ooh,
look at this on the front.
Here we go.
We saw this in APAC as well. It does seem to work well to set one up for the win at this point, but they have to line it up, and they're not.
Unfortunately, they're giving a bearing straight to the leader here, as it. You can see the gaps filling in, Nathan.
They are filling in. ATP with Gay at 4.3. Slow Twitch having to push to 6 for a second. Now backing off to 2.1. They're giving the Ninja. I'm calling him the Ninja at this point. The perfect lead out only. Where's the other ATP rider? You know, there may be an ATP rider sitting in and waiting to pounce, though, from 6th wheel or so. Kroll was the man who has been dominating these sprints so far. Where is Kroll, though, is going to be my question. And ATP backing off now. They're letting Up the Fit now make his way to the front. Here comes Wadi.
That's the attack.
And it's going to be Fulkerson. Fulkerson got a jump. That's a good jump, actually.
He's gone.
I don't know if he's going to hold it. It looks like it's going to get shut down here. Up the Fit is going to be the lead out man for the rest of the pack. 8.2. There's still like 150, 200 to go, and they're getting overtaken. Here comes Smith from Paid Dirt, but it's going to be right to the line. Brackets and Dirt. Oh, ATP. Take it down. The Ninja holds on for 3rd. What a kick to the line. I'm going to take another look at that one. That was a fun one.
I believe Brackens won that final bonus sprint as well. So really coming on strong there for the finale of the race. ATP getting it, Nathan.
Yeah, that was solid by ATP today. And they, I believe, are going to have the what we were talking about. You know, the reality of today is about whether or not you have the points at the end for 97 versus 97. It was that ATP versus the reality of Slow Twitch. And Slow Twitch did end up there in 3rd place, but I don't think really able to.
Yeah, this will be, we'll have a lot of count back to look at because all those bonus sprints, and We don't exactly know the score there. So it looks like ATP in the finale gets a bit of an advantage, but was it enough? Proof is in the pudding. Whatever that means.
That little bit of whatever that means. The proof is in the pudding.
I think that I don't know what that means. I'm gonna have to look that up. But I guess what we're saying
the proof
is that
in the
we
pudding
don't.
when you eat it's when you eat the pudding. You
with
actually
liquor?
know whether or not it's good. No, it's just whether or not it's good.
Oh,
the proof
I always
is
thought
in
it meant like the
pudding.
proof meaning the alcohol or something.
That
was in the
might
pudding.
be it. That might actually somebody could correct me. I just always thought like,
No, but I
the
think you're
proof
right.
is in when you go to eat your meal. Is it any good? Like it's proof.
You know what? I'm going to go with what you're saying. I like your world
It's in
better
the
than
experience.
mine.
It's in the experience of it. You know, it's in the experience of what's going on. You can't deny it.
If the pudding is good, the experience is probably good. Right.
There it is. Yeah. So whether or not it's good, it's in the pudding. This is for some of the minor placings, I think, at this point, but a lot of the riders have.
These could matter.
Actually, we do
Yeah,
have
you
some
never
Fresh
do
and
know.
Daddies and a few others here. We can go ahead and stick with these boys for a
Pretty
moment.
big group too.
Yeah.
Hey,
It
for
looks
these
like-
guys, this experience of sprinting out of a group like this is something you don't get to do that often. So make the most of it.
This is a guy who has been battling on his lonesome forever. He's
Bergeron.
like, I am not getting caught. The Wapro is
did-
just, nope, I'm holding these guys off, makes it happen. I
Arrow
always love
power
that.
up.
There
Yep.
it is.
Job well done by Bergeron.
ZCD, they've got 3 leading it out. I'm loving this. This is it right here from the Zwift crushing daddies. Beller open over the top, 172. Dirt trying to come through, but not going to happen. ZCD right behind Pay Dirt, it looks like, as well as the Rhinos there as well. And they all
Well,
disappear.
Beller is a baller, huh? Nice sprint there.
I think it's hilarious how they all disappear into the nether. Like, it's just like, bye. Like, they're no longer there.
Go back to your life.
It's
Thanks for joining
like
us
the
here on Zwift.
Like the avatar, just is like, see ya, boom, like no cooldown, no nothing. Well, that was we were able to cover the D's as well as the finish of the women's A's. If you want to go back and check that out, I would love to know in chat as well as over in socials what happened in that A category. You know,
The
if
women's race or
Eleanor
the men?
Weissman, with the women's race, whether or not she actually was gone from when she got away. That would be an interesting. Because to hold it off to the line, that's kind of been like the theme of this week after the Giro. Like these people like holding it off, like just barely grabbing these wins over and over again. Pretty awesome.
I used to see it all the time, Nathan, at the national championships during the summer where the Tour de France would be going on. The next day at the junior races, you would see riders trying to pull their inner Dave Zabriskie and do a solo attack to the finish. And riders love to emulate what they've seen star riders do. No question about it. And I absolutely love that about this sport. Just like I love watching some mountain biking on Red Bull TV and seeing Haley Batten get a third place at the World Cup in Alpstead,
Kate right behind her.
huge.
I mean, that was I
Holy
watched that this
cow.
morning. So that's what I did right before I jumped on for our 4 a.m. I got a ride in it too, actually. But while I was focusing in on my UCI race coming this weekend, I turned on the World Cups and was like, all right, this is the level. Let's go. Got my head into the game a little bit. With the men's and the women's race, I watched the short track Vanderpool, and then I watched the women's race, and that Lecomte girl.
Pidcock, yeah.
And then Pidcock from the back of the. I mean,
11th row.
What?
11th row, and
11th row,
I'll tell
and
you
by
what,
the third lap, he is on the. He didn't just catch
he's
up.
dropping Vanderpool.
He was on the front of the race coming through the lap. He was literally the lead rider. You go from 11th row to the lead rider. And I have raced
Unheard of.
a World Cup. I raced Mount St. Anne. I raced at New York at Windham. From that row, I never saw any. I mean, that is phenomenal. Phenomenal, dude. Like, I couldn't. And you know what? The thing is with him is I did believe it. That was the thing. Is I was like almost expecting, like, well, where is he? He's gonna do this. He's gonna do it. You're going, he's gonna do it, and then he does it.
It was like watching when Peter Sagan did the Olympics in Brazil and started working his way through the group, and eventually he got out in front of his skis. His mountain bike skills weren't good enough to hang with the Absalons and those guys. But you know what? We get off track here because we love bike racing so much. And what I love, though, let's focus on this. Right now, you've got the Giro, you've got World Cups in mountain bike racing, and our ZRL is still as competitive as ever. So this is the best time in the history of mankind to be a bike racer. There's no doubt about it. You've got the esport option. People are getting out there in real life. And Nathan, as you well know, so many folks are taking that Zwift form and kicking butt out there in real life. Christina Grossman, who raced in our A race and won the field sprint, she was on the podium at a time trial in Long Island this weekend.
Over this weekend,
so I'm so excited, right? I'm losing my voice.
She got second, right? She got second place. Yeah. Pretty amazing to see.
Our buddy, Christina.
So
Isn't
it's a second and a second. She got a second place and then got a second place today as well in the Zwift Racing League for the sprint.
But she's gold in our book.
Well, our teammate took down the win. So, I mean, pretty amazing there as well. In the women's D race, though, that focus out there today, I absolutely love it. I mean, to see all of the women who are newer to the Zwift Racing League, newer to racing, seeing those newer Zwift Power accounts and being able to highlight what they were up to and how they were battling out here today, that was the real story for me too. Let's go ahead and take a look at the results. We do have them in here as it looks like all of our racers have come across the line. It does look like in the women's race, we were just talking about it, Riot go 1-2 with Weissman and Grossman. 1 second back. Weissman holds off the pack there. It's going to be an hour and 1 second for Team Riot. And then Monks was right there with Awesome AF. It looks like for third, it looks like Cameron, they're coming on in for fourth for Team Riot as well. So there's a stacked top four there for Team Riot. A lot of Brady for Crouch and Galvin, covered up by Britt Powell for Ego Watt. That is a rider that's coming on real strong. Be on the watch out for Britt Powell. She is very motivated. You can tell. Gannon's there as well for Team Riot, followed by Jennifer Real, Team Riot. Coates, Royal City Cycling finding their way into the top 10 for 9th. And Megan Rathwell. That's the entire team. That's the whole Riot team. So amazing job there coming in from Team Riot.
They put the whole team. That's a first, Nathan. I've never seen one team put every rider into the top 10.
Yeah, pretty amazing job there by Team Riot. And they're going to be looking, I think, for that upgrade going into Season 4, I would think.
Let's take a look here at Division 1B here in America's East, and it was Brown taking the win for the Fearless Furiosas with M. Dobbs of Dutch Diesel Cycling Atomic Spice in the silver spot. The bronze medal goes to R. Seaman of the Spinabuns, Buns B. It's Boyinger for fourth of Dutch Diesel, Sue from Herd of Skipper Butterflies in fifth, Rush from Dutch Diesel in sixth, Lipko in for Fearless Furiosas in seventh, Miller from Spinabuns, the Buns B team in eighth, Lynn from ATP Racing Honeybees in ninth, and Gable for Dutch Diesel Cycling Atomic Spice rounds out our top 10 for the Bees.
In the C category, C Houston for Zed Tsunami, followed up by Wagon there for the ATP Racing Hive, and Barron as well for ATP Racing Hive for second and third. Collins, WTRL Drafting Dinos, followed up by Us the Guy, Leywat Sisters, JCQC3, Vincent for the same JCQ, it looks like JCQC2 though, so there are two separate teams there for sixth. It's going to be Champagne there for the C2s as well. Coming on in for Leywat Sisters. Then it's going to be Kate Fulmer in 8th, Bird Townsend for 9th, and D. Morer coming in for ATP Racing Hive for 9th and 10th. The Herd of Sea Otters finding their way into 8th. I'm liking the Herd team. I always love their way of getting all the animals in there. This is the D category. This is what we covered. And now interesting here. Did we... Wow, this came right to the line. I want to analyze this a little bit here, but Vanderpute, it looks like, coming through for Herd of Bounding Bobcats. What did we see in the replay, though, there, Dave?
Yeah, I'm going to read these as they are, but we can always say go to WTRL.racing, as sometimes things do get recalibrated. So it'll be Vanderput. That was a name that we did see a lot at the end of the race of Herd of Bounding Bobcats. Taking the win, it was Holly Bird for Lamaste there for the silver medal, and then Garcia Courneuer there in third, taking the bronze for Les Watt sisters. It's Dubord for fourth for ATP Racing Buzz. Musser of WTRL, the drafting Dinos, won in fifth. Lee from Fear Factor in sixth. The herd of Blazing Bobcats represented in seventh place by NW. It's Obey for Vibe in eighth. Criado of Herd of Badass Bobcats in ninth. And then Brisbois of the Vibe team rounds out our top 10. That was a fun race to watch. Really glad we got to cover the Division 1D women today in America's East, and keep up the energy out there. Great racing, ladies.
I'm going to show you exactly what I was talking about there, actually, and it was just a back-end API, and that is correct. Did you see the 0 seconds, Dave? It was 0 seconds, so that's why.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
I mean, it was
well,
right
I never.
there.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
what a finish.
Well, that's on me. I mean,
what a
0
great race.
seconds, and we have a one of those situations where it's completely a photo finish, and this camera angle may not be the camera angle that needs to grab it correctly either.
So it's funny, Nathan, I have this thing printed out for Premier League that every time we have this situation, I'll read it to you because I keep it by my computer. But due to the possibility of latency, we need to go to Zwift servers rather than the replay to verify the results.
Well, it's
Isn't
true.
that good?
I mean, in real life, you have that as well. The photo finish.
Yep.
We had that with Pidcock just a couple of weeks ago.
100%.
Same kind
Absolutely.
of thing. Same exact kind of thing. So no conspiracy theory there. It does
Not
look
at
like
all.
in the A category for the Division 2As, it is going to be Shigahara there for the Velasquez Trail Mesh, followed up by Jay Harding there for Team USMES. It's going to be Downey there for the VCRT Amstaffs. Roach coming through for Red Peloton A. No, Block there for On the River Blur. It's going to be Kadesh there for VCRT Amstaffs, followed up by his teammate M. Day. Then Kate Ronan coming out of Ireland for the Ruthless Rulers. Venecki for Turn Takers, and Jay Campbell. That is your top 10 in the Division 2As for America's East.
I'm going to have to ask Kevin Bouchard Hall what trail mesh means. All right, C. Bracken's taking it for ATP Racing Xenon. And this was a fun one here for our Division 2B man. Paydirt gets the silver with D. Smith, and Slow Twitch there with Yang for the bronze medal today. Kase in fourth place. Kase in fourth place there for B2 Les Watts brothers. Get me straight on the pronunciation there. I apologize. As in fifth place, it's Fulkerson, who made a run for it there in the finale for Wadi Inc. Ion. Sixth going to Kroll from ATP Racing Xenon. Crouchen Titleist there for Eaton in seventh. Graft from Slow Twitch in eighth. Saltikis in ninth for Zed Sun Apologetic. And then we've got 10th place going to Smith from the RR Albino Rhinos. That's the Bees.
You wouldn't think that we actually covered this category just now with the way that we got through those names there, Dave. I felt like this one. Yeah, I felt like this one was really after you there, Dave.
Well, yeah, usually, yeah, I struggled.
In the C category here, it does look like Estrega from the Dirty Domestiques. Elder coming on through for Spokanza. And then it's A. Lalonde with the Zwift Flakes. C. Leonard with Royal City Cycling. Wesolowicz for Team Electric Spirit Negroni. Lester coming on through also for Team Electric Spirit Negroni in sixth. Spokanza with Wehrman in seventh. Team Slow Twitch with P. Freiner in eighth. Maclean riding for the Royal City Cycling MC1 in ninth. And Fogg, the Dirty Domestiques. I'm not sure there's going to be a D category, so no, there is not here in this with these riders for the Division 2 for the East. All right, West, America's West is coming on up. We are in week 6. 2 more weeks to go after this. 1 more go at the Sprinter's Delight. We'll see how things play out with America's West. It's going to be Kate where I'm at, Dave where he's at. And thanks a lot for everybody tuning in. If you haven't done so already, hit those follow buttons, subscribes, notifications, do all the things. You know, anytime we do go live, helps out the channel a ton. And you get to know anytime that we are here talking about all the Zwift stuff. We'll see you in just a little under an hour for the America's West. As always, thanks a lot to all of the viewers and all of the riders. Great job to you, and ride on.